Maastricht is a historic town in the middle of Europe. During the Dutch Golden Age in the 17th century, navigation and international trade brought prosperity and fame to the town. In 1975, an international fine art fair, Pictura, opened here. 3 years later, an antique fair, Antiqua, was inaugurated. These two fairs merged, and then, in 1988, the European Fine Art Fair, TEFAF, was born. This marriage between fine art and the collection of antiques has become a highlight of Maastricht.
TEFAF has 3 fairs in the world, 1 in Maastricht and 2 in New York. The fair in Maastricht is the mother fair. We have 280 exhibitors here. We consider the exhibitors as being the best in the world. They represent 7,000 years of art history. So when a collector comes here, they can actually can look at several categories: old masters, modern, contemporary, sculpture, Asian art. Everything is here.
As early as the 16th century, Europeans began to collect curious items from all over the world. They built up collections centered on nature, science, or arts and crafts, and housed these collections in cabinets of curiosities. In the Baroque era, cabinets of curiosities were literally showcases for collectors. They commissioned craftsmen, silversmiths, and cabinet makers to create in great detail miniatures of the works of art found in an opulent home. TEFAF Loan Exhibition 2019 featured highlights from Dresden State art collections. In memory of the 350th anniversary of Rembrandt's death, one of his works, The Abduction of Ganymede, was on display. Zeus, in the form of an eagle, abducts Ganymede, who is represented as a frightened, blubbering little boy. This is a mischievous interpretation of the original tale. The exhibits also included the crown of Augustus the Strong, which still glitters with his power and glory.
We are very happy to be invited here, and we can present the state art collections of Dresden with really highlights, very important works of our collections. And they are coming from different collections, from the Old Masters Gallery, from the sculptural collection, from porcelain collection, and also, of course, from the, we say, parade appartements. That mean these are parts of the castle and the royal palace. So we bring them in a dialogue. It's a dialogue between painting and sculpture, and between costumes and porcelain.
At TEFAF, visitors showed their great passion for antiques and art. Their passion was safeguarded by the secure environment that TEFAF has strived to provide since its inception. Two days before the opening, the exhibits were thoroughly vetted by a group of experts. The vetting process was intensified in 2019, with an even more independent vetting committee and stricter standards.
And to us, the most important thing is that these people actually get the idea that they can buy with confidence. And how do you buy with confidence? You buy with confidence if you actually start to realize that 190 people who are very independent, these are scholars, these are academic people, have actually gone through the 80,000 or sometimes 90,000 objects that are on display here. So every object has been seen, every object has been touched, every object has been studied as far as provenance is concerned and the attributions of the artist are concerned. So that to us is basically the most important part of the TEFAF art fair.
The galleries themselves also went through a strict verification process. Connoisseurs and academics worked together to guarantee that every exhibit is authentic and has a reliable provenance. Carla Ossi, Trinity Fine Art, presented a newly found painting, Susanna and the Elders, that is attributed to Frans Floris, a 16th century painter from Antwerp. Robilin and Voyna presented still life of fruit with 3 figures of children that the gallery has reattributed to Bartolomeo Cavarozzi. As well as reassuring authenticity, the exhibitors revealed stories about the works, offering intriguing presentations. This lion-shaped 17th century timepiece has a pair of eyes that move to the rhythm of the clockwork, imbuing the mechanical work with life. Based on a design by John Flaxman with scenes from the Iliad, the Shield of Achilles reflects 18th century craftsmanship. The sumptuously enameled Viennese nef reflects the strong impact of Art Nouveau. Jean-Michel Renachel presented antique musical instruments with unique and fascinating provenances and stories, including a harp that belonged to Queen Victoria's daughter and a piano that was exhibited at the Universal Exposition of Paris in 1877. As an ethnomusicologist, Renachel is passionate about his work.
For each instrument, I have a lot of work to do. So for research in archives, in books, in museums. And I have still a real passion to do that job. And after, when I think I have nothing else really important to find, I can sell it. Because I cannot keep all the instruments. And in fact, it is a job like a hunting job. My pleasure is to hunt the instrument. It's an unquest, you know, and to hunt it, to the research, and then to find one, and to do the job around it, about its story, its technique, its restoration, and so on.
Exhibitors also took a new approach to arrange the displays of the antiques. For example, for this exhibition, Jean-Michel Renachel and Galerie Gismondi worked together to create an 18th century music salon, placing old instruments among antique furniture. In 1991, TEFAF included a modern art section. Since then, modern art has become an important part of the fair. In 2019, TEFAF overhauled this section with 13 modern art galleries participating for the first time.
I joined last year and I formed a board of 5 people who are on the selection committee. We have 25% of new dealers who are very good international dealers who participate in Basel Art Fair and other very important shows like that. So we're very proud of the job we did this year by having quite a completely new modern section.
Modern artists seem to have given viewers the final right of interpretation of their works, but the gallery's presentations also provide novel points of view. Daniel Buren's iconic stripes, Anish Kapoor's circle and square play, and Ugo Rondinon's rough, figural sculpture. At first sight, they all seem to be abstract modern works in different forms.
I would say the link between all those artists is the fact that they were all using this material. And this material was used even before the birth of Jesus Christ. From that time to now, even I was saying to different territories. And it was very important for us to express this medium, which can be identified and seen in all over the world. So I sought to create a selection, a curating of some of the artists who were working with stone.
The setting is also essential in revealing the meaning of the works. Under the delicate lighting, the work elegantly fits into the space around it, showing the true value of modern art.
We really put an effort into not just what kind of works we bring, but the presentation of the works. We think that's very important to understanding the art and getting a grasp for how the work changes the space around it. And we think that's a very important element, the element of space and spatial relationships within Japanese art. And we're trying to express that within our stand.
The fine jewelry selection was highlighted by the historical value of the gemstones. 20th century fine jewelry pieces have continued to be a major focus. They boast rare, precious stones, and their refined, symmetric designs echo the current retro style. Contemporary designers also created new works that transform precious stones into whimsical delights. Jewelry can be a witness to historical moments and personal stories. As jewelry designers keep breaking boundaries, more and more of their works look into the future. The variety of designs and styles also corresponds with the diversified tastes of collectors.
那为什么我们要创作这些珠宝，作为我们情感一种美的一种载体？因为我觉得一个创作人他每天追求的就是感觉到自己不完美，而因为不完美，透过他的创作追求那个完美。那对于一个收藏者来说呢，他也是去填补这个空白，使得自己透过收藏、透过珠宝、透过艺术品来得到他们空白的一个空间。
到现在还是很多人会把观念停留在收藏珠宝就是买一个有价值的宝石，那我会觉得很可惜。我就一直有一个心愿，就是我很希望每一件作品其实应该像是一个微型的艺术品跟雕塑品。我很希望每一个人在收藏我的作品的时候，他们会觉得他带了一个微型的建筑物跟微型的雕塑品回去，那他每天除了穿戴以外，还可以去欣赏它。
The art market is both dynamic and static. It embraces changes and innovations as well as timeless collections. Axel Vervoet presented an ancient Roman sculpture. Its author is anonymous, but time has certainly engaged in creating it, inflicting wear and tear. Some contemporary artists also favor this touch brought by time. The works of the Mexican artist Bosco Sadi have such unique textures.
The art market is in constant change, and so as a collector and as a dealer, we always try to rediscover and find what's not yet the trend, and also support the artists that we discovered throughout whatever happens in the market. You have to be in the art market for the long term. You have to think half a generation, and then you do the right decisions. If you think short term, then I don't think art is a place to invest.
TEFAF pays special attention to the development of the art market. Every year, it releases an art market report offering professional insights. The Art Market Report 2019 focuses on the Chinese art market.
这是第一次国际的一间艺术机构对中国艺术市场进行一个历史性的回顾，所以它不同于一般的艺术市场报告。那么我们大部分看的艺术市场报告是对于上一年成交量和各个门类的数据的一个回顾。那么我们这个报告它拉的历史的线索比较长，是有40年的历史，所以它的主要的受众还是以西方的读者为主，因为他们对中国过去40年历史，包括艺术市场的变化并不了解。
As mentioned in the report, the modern Chinese art market was established at the end of the 1970s. It grew rapidly after the first auction houses emerged in the 1990s. Now it is the second largest art market in the world. But as early as the 17th century, a craving for chinoiserie swept Europe. Large numbers of Chinese arts and crafts, including porcelain and lacquerware, were brought onto the European art market. Today, these works are representative of the historical cultural exchange between East and West.
The history of the production of ceramics in Delft ties in very much with what was going on in the Far East, and especially in China. From around 1600, the Dutch East India traders were bringing in a lot of Chinese porcelain to Europe through the ports in the Netherlands, and they were selling it to all over Europe. And of course, as everybody knows, the Chinese porcelain was very much coveted and wanted in Europe, and the Dutch traders gave into that demand and supplied the demand. When around 1650, the production of Chinese porcelain went down, and the Delft pottery makers stepped into that niche of demand for Chinese porcelains. So they started to produce wares that were emulating Chinese porcelain in Dutch Delftware, but it was not exactly the same. And very shortly after, we see that they take a lead role in the production of ceramics in Europe, and we see China even copying Delftware pieces around 1700 with the correct markings that the Delft potters were using. So there was a bit of interaction between the two countries, and we see that the history really ties into each other between China and the Netherlands around 1650 to 1700.
Art can depict culture and reflect history in tangible ways. With its transparent organization, TEFAF Maastricht is not only a trendsetter for the art market, it offers a multicultural communication platform that is authentic and dynamic.